Well, welcome everyone. Let me get all my notes up here. Happy New Year and TGIF to all of you who are joining us today. We are, like I said, we were going to try to go live on Facebook, but I don't think that option is available. But we are recording for those who can't join us in real time. So you can go back and check this out on the Arts Build YouTube page. I am Amy Loudermilk, the programs manager for Arts Build. I'm subbing in today for Mary Amanda, who is Arts Build's manager of grants and community engagement. Today's Zoom is focused on sharing the new Artists at Work program and United Way's Community Investment Grant program. I'll have more on those topics in just a bit. We've got quite a bit happening in our arts and culture community here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County, and there are some dates and deadlines I'd like to share with you all if we've got time at the end. But just a couple of things before we get started. ArtsBuild is pleased to share our 2021 Impact Report. All of this is possible because of the support of the community, the generosity of our donors, and the wonderful work of artists, arts organization, arts educators, and so many more. We were able to invest $2.1 million in the Chattanooga Hamilton County arts and culture sector. You can check out the full report via the link that I am posting in the chat right now. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Um, so another announcement we have, Arts Build, we are also excited to bring back our Shared Services Wednesday workshop. If you want to see more of me, that will now be quarterly. You can check out those upcoming workshops on Arts Build's social media. I plan to send out an email soon with more details to those of you who are plugged in as our email contacts. For now, though, mark your calendars for the following Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m., February 16th, March 2nd, and March 9th. Felina Martin will join us on February 16th for Event It and Make Money, her workshop. On March 2nd, we'll be joined by Colleen Miller for a social media workshop. And March 9th, our friends Lynn and Angie with HR Biz Solutions reunite with us to workshop topics in HR and accounting. So, and also to ensure ArtsBuild is bringing our followers the most relevant and useful information, we have come up with a pre-survey of sorts that we hope you'll take the time to send us some feedback via the Google form that I'm linking now in the chat. Your input here helps ArtsBuild to better serve our arts community with shared services. These shared services, hold on, let me go ahead and get that in there. Um, uh, these shared services cover legal assistance, human resources, healthcare, back office, and other training and tools. These shared services workshops are free and are open to all of our community members. So I hope you'll take advantage of those. We have some of these recordings posted to our YouTube page, so just check out this shared services section of that. Um, we are also looking forward to seeing everyone at the City of Chattanooga's 2022 MLK Day of Service and Donation Drive on Monday. We'll have a booth to ArtsBuild specifically will have a booth to collect art supplies. So we hope you'll stop by the donation drive. It's again Monday, January 17th between 8:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. at 101 East 11th Street and the parking lot between Newby and Houston Street downtown. Whether or not you can join us, please take a look at our art supply wish list from Amazon, posting that in the chat as well. You can send your donations directly to ArtsBuild if you're not able to make it out on Monday. So I don't want to take any more time with announcements, but if we have time at the end, I have a few more dates and deadlines to share. However, all that information can be found in ArtsBuild's weekly newsletter called ArtsWire that hits email inboxes every Thursday. If you're not already subscribed to ArtsWire, I hope you'll take a second and go to artsbuild.com, where you'll be prompted to subscribe so you don't miss any of ArtsBuild's programming and grants announcements, as well as information from other arts and culture organizations that are local, statewide, and national, and doing great work right here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker today. Nadine, I hope I don't butcher your last name, but it's Nadine, is it Goellner?
Nadine Goellner is great.
Goellner.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
Thank
much.
you.
No.
She is the managing director of the Artists at Work initiative in the Greater Chattanooga and Thrive region. Nadine is here to talk to us about this exciting new partnership with ArtsBuild and the Office Performing Arts plus film, with support from the Lyndhurst Foundation, that will be hiring 1 fellow and 5 artists from all disciplines to work with regional social impact organizations. So with that, Nadine, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate that warm introduction, and I'm just so thrilled to be with you and the ArtsBuild team and the greater community here. So thank you all for giving me the space and time to talk a little bit about Artists at Work. I am not the most tech savvy, but I'm going to go ahead here and try to share my screen. Bear with me one moment. Okay. Do this.
Perfect.
All right. And how about this? Can you all see this now?
Yes.
Terrific. Thank you so much. So Artists at Work is a program that at its core is essentially a workforce resilience program. It was designed in the spirit of the WPA, kind of in the early days of the pandemic, to address a lot of what we saw in the arts community and the artists that we work with, seeing them all lose their livelihoods in the pandemic. And so we thought, how can we help get artists resources that they need? But not only that, help to, take this moment of scorched earth that we've all been living through in the pandemic and turn it into something positive and sustainable that also helps address the rebuilding of our society in a healthy way through artistic civic engagement. This is a program of a small company that I work for called the Office Performing Arts and Film. We're based here in New York and headed up by our director, Rachel Chanoff. And we work with artists and nonprofit organizations and venues and festivals kind of all around the Northeast and all around the country and the world. And we are really focused on presenting art that makes a difference in the world, whether it's working with Carrie Mae Weems or local artists in our community. And so we were thrilled to have this opportunity to pilot this idea for Artists at Work in July of 2020 in Western Massachusetts, where we do some work with Mass MoCA and Jacob's Pillow and the Williams College. And we knew that we could have a little seed money to get the program started. What I have here is a little video with one of the artists from that pilot program. Her name is Naya Kete, and she talks a little bit about her experience with Artists at Work. And I thought that I would play that to start things off. Always better to hear right from the artists directly about the program and how it works. And then I'll talk a little bit about the overall structure and what we'll be doing in the Thrive region and those couple of opportunities that Amy mentioned. So if it's all right, I'm going to press play here and hopefully this comes through.
As an artist, there was this moment that I had, I think about like 6 weeks or 2 months into the first 6-month program, where I was sitting down at the piano and I had all of this crap in my head. I'm supposed to, follow up on these emails and, post this social media and edit this video and, like all of this stuff, because as independent artists, you're multitaskers, you have to do all of the things if you're an independent artist in this day and age. But then I thought about the fact that I was a part of this pilot program with AAW. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm being paid to do right now. And it was just so powerful to have that recognition. One thing that really made this work is the partnership, right? So I think it's so incredible that AAW and all of you folks who work there have the foresight to say, we need an artist, we need a culture hub, and we need a social impact initiative. And we need all of those things. I think that the combination of those kinds of partners makes something like this doable and safe for, you know, the participants that you're working with and the stories that you're holding.
The thing that was so great for us was being able to support a young artist who had already been working with us to do something outside of what we could really afford to do. I think also it speaks to what can happen when artists are given funding to just sort of carry into something that they just dreamed about.
Alexis is so endearing. And, you know, for some people that I worked with, the song was about one specific memory or one specific experience. And for others, it was about a series of experiences. And for Alexis, that's what it was.
Always give people my best version of myself. There was definitely a time where I wasn't giving the best version of myself to people. And that definitely harmed me, it harmed my relationships, and it changed my life for a bad way. So that's why when I was introduced to you by Jess, it really like refreshed my life to become a better person and know that I can be the best version of myself, that Alexis that I see in my head, I can turn into that person as long as I keep working towards this healing and keep finding these important parts of my life that I didn't know existed because I didn't even venture out to go look or think about it. Right now, like I feel connected to the world, but it's just me and you and me.
There are not even words to really describe how transformative this experience was. For Alexis, you know, he's always been this bright light and he's had this feeling of like, yeah, this is not my place. Like, I don't belong here in this world. I have just seen him completely land in his body and in his identity as a leader.
My whole life changed when I joined this program. I was able to define really what my mission has been and always has been in music. It's changed the way that I think about my art. It's changed the way that I move in the world. And there's more opportunity in my life as a result of being that aligned in my commitment and devotion to the art.
Great, thank you all for watching that video. I always love to just hear the artists talk a little bit directly about what the program has meant to them and what it can do. So essentially, Artists at Work is working with this network of partners to help build healthy communities. So how does that work? You know, in the case of the Thrive region, we're so thrilled and delighted that ArtsBuild, with the generous support of the Lyndhurst Foundation, is going to serve as our home, our culture hub for 5 artists in the region. And we're going to ask those artists to do 2 things. We're going to put them on payroll at a living wage salary and provide them with health benefits in order to continue to make the beautiful work that they're making, continue that practice, but also to lend their creative thinking to the mission of a local social impact initiative. So that means, engaging the local community around an issue that's important to that community. And in the case of this program in the Thrive region, with Lyndhurst Foundation support, what we're going to be asking these 5 artists to focus on is issues around climate resilience, which are, having an impact on our communities locally, and nationally. And so we're so excited that all of these artists will be united in this focus. We had a wonderful roundtable yesterday with James and Kathleen and a number of other local organizations, social impact initiatives that are working in various areas to gauge their interest about participating in this. And I was thrilled to be able to share the program with them. We, of course, with Lyndhurst's support, we're offering ArtsBuild a fee to help host these artists so that we can add some capacity there. And then we're also paying a participation fee to the social impact initiatives as well. They'll have that support and then also be able to, gain from the labor and the creative thinking and the work of these artists in reaching their constituencies. The office, serves as kind of the engine room of the whole program. We put the artists on our payroll, so we're not adding burden to others. And we also have a great structure for the program that lays out a little bit of a framework for thinking and resource mapping and how to develop these projects based on our own experience as producers and curators out in the world. I want to go to the next slide just to kind of focus in on what we're talking about with these artists. So again, we are asking them to do these 2 things: to continue their own practice and then to make a commitment to working with a local social impact initiative on engaging their community and building relationships. Sometimes it manifests in the way that you just heard Naya talk about, working one-on-one and in an intimate way and doing a lot of trust building with a group that serves youth at risk. And in the case of the Thrive region, I'm sure that it'll be myriad ways that these artists work with these various organizations, the social impact initiatives around climate change issues. And then we also, of course, offer the artists, in addition to a living wage, salary, and health benefits, we do monthly professional development workshops and work shares with those artists, everything from financial wellness and planning to career planning, social media, grant writing, fundraising. So we're thrilled to kind of really be able to help them think about their careers, the sustainability of these careers during this time when they have this steady income. Is a great time to be doing some real thinking and planning just for their own futures. And we do these check-ins with it'll be ArtsBuild, the hub, and the social impact initiatives and the artists all along the journey. I don't believe I mentioned at the top of the presentation, but we initially started this program with a pilot in Western Massachusetts. And then we were very fortunate to have the Mellon Foundation follow us and the successes of that program. And they gave us a $3 million grant to expand the program nationally in 3 specific regions: Los Angeles County, where we're currently working with 16 artists and organizations, and then the Mississippi Delta region, which will launch March 1st, right at the same time as the Thrive region program. And we're hoping to do some cross-regional learning with both of those groups and the 10 artists that'll be in the Mississippi Delta, working with the 5 artists in the Thrive region for some of these work shares, certainly for the professional development workshops. And it's just great when artists can bounce ideas off of each other and we can make those connections for artists and the organizations involved. And the other opportunity, in addition to the 5 artists that we'll be employing during this program, is that we'll also be employing one fellow, an administrative fellow. This part of our program, we're thrilled to have. Our goal with this program is really to address some of the underrepresentation of BIPOC individuals in key roles in the culture sector. So we're looking for future producers, curators, board members, decision makers, and looking for this role to really help a young person or a person who's early in their career grow. We have our first fellow that we've just hired in Los Angeles County, and we'll be thrilled to be doing the same in the Thrive region and in the Delta region. And much like we'll connect the artists with each other from different regions, we'll also be connecting the fellows with each other. This is another way also that hopefully this fellow in helping us be an administrative support for the program will add some capacity to ArtsBuild as the program goes on and be a real support for the artists. I believe we have a link for that as well that I can share after this meeting that we'll be hopefully interviewing candidates over the next couple of weeks. And just to touch on the timeline, we are hoping to have all of our artists and hopefully the fellows selected the week of February 7th. And then mid-month in February, around the 16th, we'll do our info session and onboarding to explain our health benefits and all the kind of basics of the program. And then on or about March 1st, we should be able to launch, which is very exciting for us. I know that it's been a tough moment, particularly in the COVID times with this recent wave of Omicron, but we're hoping to keep to this timeline if we can. And we've already been getting applications in with the open call that James put out. So we're thrilled about that, and we look forward to seeing all the creative ideas that the artists and our other partners come to the table with. These are just some contact information for our team members, which I can also share and follow up. Of course, we're always glad to answer any questions that you have. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen and just come back here and just, say thank you so much for hearing a little bit about our program. We're so excited to be working in community with all of you. And I'm glad to answer questions if there's time for that with Amy. I see the one coming in from Christina. Yes, this is a one-year program. And, again, we put these artists on payroll and provide them health benefits as opposed to structuring it like a grant. So that way they're eligible for unemployment benefits and COBRA as a bridge afterward. Our goal long-term with the program is to be in each region for up to 3 years. We're seeking out multi-year support in the way of public funding to match some of the generous private funding that we've been able to secure to get us started, but we are still very much in early days. And so we're working on that. But for the moment, this will be a one-year program that will run from March 1st through the end of February next year, 2023.
And Nadine, I think James is fielding a few questions in the chat. He's responding to those, and looks like Harlan has a question for you.
Great, thank you, James, for fielding that. I've got the chat open now. Does the artist have, as part of the application? So no, what we've asked is for, I think that these are kind of running concurrently. So ArtsBuild and Lyndhurst and I met with interested local organizations yesterday, and they're kind of submitting a statement of intent to James and company next week about their interest in the program. The artists will submit their own application, and then I think we'll do a little matchmaking to see kind of what makes sense based on some of the ideas and the expertise and the discipline that the artist is bringing to the table and how that matches up with the local organizations. Great. Are there some good examples of social impact initiatives where artists can look for potential partners? That's a great question. And because I'm, not kind of embedded locally there, which is part of what, we're coming to and looking to ArtsBuild and Lyndhurst to be the experts regionally there, because I'm sitting in my my humble apartment in Brooklyn. So I think that I might turn to James. I know the folks that we met yesterday, but I think I'd turn to James to ask how he'd like to answer that question based on some of the folks that we're talking to.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm actually on vacation today, so I will spare you seeing me in my pajama top. But at this time, we have, I would say, about 10 organizations that we've talked to across the region. And remember, this is a regional project. So we're looking for social impact organizations in 16 counties, which is inclusive of Tennessee, Alabama, North Alabama, and North Georgia. They range from organizations that focus on energy and housing, clean water, reducing carbon footprints. There's a couple of farms that are very engaged in environmental education. And we did get our first letter of intent or statement of intent yesterday. So we will be pulling together the group of 5 organizations. So it really won't be up to the artists to find an organization to work with. We will go through a matching process to help the artists to connect to one of the organizations.
That is great. Great. And I'm sorry, catching up on the other questions. So I see one from Kim Lorello asking about statement of intent, maybe as an organization that's interested in participating. Is that what I'm understanding? Yes, great. Great. And I think that, again, I think to follow up on what and echo what James said, I think that he and did some outreach directly to those organizations. And James, if you're looking for a few others to submit statements of intent, and maybe you have Kim's contact info, that there can be a follow-up with her directly on that. Is that possible? And you're an artist as well. Great. So the artist, I see that, Kim. I think that James put the link to the Thrive region a little bit up ahead in the chat, and there should be linked the open call as well for artists. So you can find that there. Let me see if I can reshare that just so it's here at the top. Great. All right, I'll share that, and you should find the link to the open call there on our website. Sorry, and I'm backing up to the questions here. Make sure I've got them. How many artwork images should we submit? What format and size? I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to take a look on the application. And James, I didn't know if you called for work samples as part of the open call that you did for artists. Is that correct?
We did ask for work samples, and you're invited to send as many as you would like. And I'm putting the link to the call to artists in the chat box now.
Thank you. Yeah, the direct link to the open call. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Great. Carrie, I see your question. Is it more about fulfilling a need for a specific organization or to bring awareness to an issue? That's interesting. For us, there are different ways to have impact in community. Sometimes bringing awareness is the impact. For us at Artists at Work, we're just wanting to make sure that whatever the kind of idea is and the project is, it just actively engages the community around that idea. Sometimes it could be about creating an artwork together, like a mural. Sometimes it can be about just having workshops and town halls and engaging around ideas. But I think the kind of unifying idea here is that it's all around climate resilience, issues of climate resilience. Great. Great. And Erica, I think that we are, you're certainly eligible to apply as an artist. Individual artists is what we're looking for as opposed to collectives, just because of the way the program is structured in putting individuals on payroll. But that open call link is there that James shared, and you're very welcome to apply. Great. Oh, and I see James's answer to that. Sorry, I'm just catching up. Terrific. And have I covered everybody's questions? I hope. Fingers crossed.
I believe you have, and just everybody remember we are recording, so we'll post this to our social media as well as to our YouTube page. So if you need to go back and revisit any of the information that Nadine and James have provided us with, I know Nadine in her slides had the contact list, and Nadine, if you don't mind, just drop your contact information in the chat. It was moving pretty quickly there a second ago. So, and then also James's email at ArtsBuild is just james@artsbuild.com. So thank you so much. And I'm sure you'll probably be getting emails with questions as a result of this. So
yeah,
that's
please
great.
Do. Thank you.
Yeah. And we're very lucky to have so many interested folks here on the Zoom today. So thanks so much for that, Nadine. Very informative. So All righty. So for the sake of time, we will move on to our next speaker. So thank you again to Nadine. So we are now joined by Kate Sylvester, Director of Community Investment and Partner Relations with the United Way of Greater Chattanooga. Kate is here to share about United Way's Community Investments Grant Funding Opportunity, which I'm dropping in the chat right now. This is for their 2022-2023 cycle. It's aimed at supporting community efforts around transformational change in our community. And ArtsBuild is excited to announce that we will be serving as a cultural hub for, that's a copy paste mistake from my notes. So with that said, I'll go ahead and hand things over to Miss Kate to tell us about the Community Investments Grant Funding Opportunity.
Great, thanks so much. I was getting excited for what you were saying. You were partnering with us that I hadn't heard about, but since that was a different note. Yep. But good, all good. All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Kate Sylvester, Director of Community Investment at United Way of Greater Chattanooga. I've been with United Way for about 2 years now. I started as the executive assistant, came on right at the height of both the pandemic and the tornadoes that came through. So I have been on the roller coaster with United Way and with our area as well for quite a while now. I moved into a grants coordinator role, so I helped to raise money to bring into United Way, and now I'm on the flip side of helping to put the money back out into the community. So I will also share my screen and get this started. All right, can you all see that first slide? Yes, perfect. All right. So just quickly want to go over what the vision and mission is for United Way of Greater Chattanooga. So our vision, we envision a community where everyone achieves their full human potential through education, stability, and health and well-being. And our mission is uniting people and resources and building a stronger, healthier community. So we see this as a unique value of United Way, that we can deploy dollars into the community. That's a way to unite people and resources, but there are many other ways United Way invests in the community. And so we're just sharing our grant making portion of that investment. And so this is our community investments team. Brian Ballou is our community investments data manager. So he works with our team, but then he works with our department as a whole on the data side. Terrence Brown is our community investments coordinator, and then I'm the director, and Abby Garrison, who's our vice president of community investments. And so if at any point you'd like to get in touch with our team, I put our email right there at the bottom, impact@uwchat.org. I'll also be sharing this slide deck with you all. And since this is being recorded as well, you can find this information back. All right, so a little bit of the agenda, but I'm just going to jump right in so that we can get going with looking back at where United Way has been and looking forward to where we've gone to so that we can make the best investments in the community. So let me back up a little bit. Before 2017, we have always served in this 6-county footprint. So 3 in Tennessee and 3 in Northwest Georgia, Hamilton County, Marion, and Sequatchie, and then Dade, Walker, and Catoosa in North Georgia. And in 2017, we started a design journey with community and partners because we wanted to move from this old allocations model to a true investment and impact model. We realized that there's been a list of the same 40 organizations or so for quite a number of years since United Way has been in Greater Chattanooga, which this is actually our 100-year anniversary this year. And although these organizations are doing incredible work and we've so appreciated being partners with them, we realize that this is so limiting in the ability to know where impact can and is happening that might be outside of where we've historically invested. So we went on a journey for now almost 5 years to transition this closed allocations model to an open, competitive, and inclusive impact model. And so this has been revealed through how our investments have changed over the years. So if you'll see in the gray is the number that was invested in traditional allocations. And so what we asked our partners to do is start to move towards a step down model, where if they received $100,000 historically, that they would step down from that amount and they would reinvest and go for, in this competitive model, towards an impact or innovation and capacity building applications. And so you'll see year over year from our 2020 cycle through our 2022 cycle, we've invested more in impact and innovation and capacity, and traditional has reduced as our partners have, as our historical partners have changed their way of investing. And this was just to help prepare both our internal staff and how to navigate the different administration that we would work towards to administer these investments, but also to help historical partners lead towards what it would be like when it was an open and competitive and inclusive application process. So a key piece of our investments is that everything is driven by volunteer advocates. So we, as United Way staff, make no decisions when it comes to the funding. We solely provide the information, the technical platform, all of the applications necessary, but then community volunteers who are representative of our region is who's actually scoring, reading, reviewing, interacting with the applicants, making final recommendations, and then moving those final recommendations into actual grants. And so this is just a little demographic overview of volunteers from our previous years. And I'll have a little call to action at the end of this presentation where we really need to build this up. We want this to be as representative as possible across our 6-county region, both age, gender, and race and ethnicity. And so if you all are interested in this, definitely visit our website. There's all the information necessary to volunteer. And I can put that, I'll put that in. Oh, I see that there's already the link in there. Yes, so if you'll just go to that website, unitedway.org, and navigate to our community investments side, you'll find the volunteer information as well. And then this is just an overview as well as where the investments went in the previous cycle. So you'll see it by grant type, capacity building, innovation. We have some designations, traditional, and then impact. Then where it went by focus area. So our 3 focus areas are education, stability, and health and well-being. You'll see we split education by early childhood and youth. And then community investments by county. You'll see Hamilton County is by far our largest. This has to do with how the money is raised. So if money is raised within a county, it stays within that county. So this isn't because Georgia and Marion Sequatchie are getting the short end of the stick. It's just that there are fewer dollars that are raised there during our United Way campaign on the other side of what we do at United Way. So that was just a little looking back of where we've been. And so looking forward to where we're going. We have a similar process, but now it is open to all. So our grant applications, you can either apply to an impact or catalyst fund, which I'll get into the details of those in a little while. Those are then collected and reviewed by community volunteers, like I said, and then the grants are funded through a competitive, collaborative, and inclusive process. And then the guiding principles for how we do our grant making. You can see on the left, we have our partnership promises. So we strive, and we know we're not always like this, but we strive to be clear and transparent, supportive through the process, communicative and collaborative, understanding and trusting, innovative, and responsible stewards. And these promises are coming out of this trust-based philanthropy project. If you've all heard of this initiative, it is trying to change the model of what grant making has been in the past, that there's a lot of big brother feel, high weight put on reporting quantitative data and not always qualitative as well. And that expectations are sometimes blurry when it comes to a grantee relationship. And so we're wanting to move towards this trust-based philanthropy perspective with our grant making. And so this is why these are our grant making, our guiding principles. And then just a little bit into what is staying the same and what's changing. So from the past and what's staying the same, we're deploying the previous year's funds. We're sticking with the impact, capacity, and innovation applications. Our footprint, focus areas, and our general timeline is all the same, which I'll get into in a little bit as well. Is we're open to all who have never been funded before, who are 501c3s in the greater Chattanooga region. And we're going to have a phased application. So this is going to go from a basic eligibility to a letter of intent to a full application. I'll give some more details on that later as well. We've updated our metrics and reporting. A huge piece of feedback that we heard from our historically funded partners was that it wasn't comprehensive in how we were asking people to report. Or that there wasn't the ability to be flexible for what their programs or projects and initiatives did and served. And so we've updated those as well as a designation policy, which that's more internal. If you've got questions on that, please feel free to reach out to us. So a little bit of an overview for our current cycle. So the purpose of United Way's community investments is to drive transformational change in our community by directing our limited resources towards data-driven efforts that deliver the highest return on investment as measured by education stability and health and well-being outcomes within our Steps to Success framework. So our three funding streams or opportunities, as I said earlier, there are 2 funds, but there are 3 opportunities within these. So the Impact Fund invest in local nonprofits through competitive grants for collaborative and transformational work to find solutions to systemic issues in our community. So a big emphasis with the Impact Fund is that there's a mandatory piece of collaboration. We ask all applicants to show that they have at least one collaborative partner. It can be a private stakeholder, public, nonprofit, faith-based, whatever it might be. Just show that you are pursuing collaboration and across your application. And then the second is the Catalyst Fund, and there are 2 branches of that, the innovation and the capacity building application. And both are looking to accelerate impact by investing in either innovation or nonprofit capacity. So a few more specifics with the Impact Fund. As I said, we require at least one cross-sector collaborative partnership, and types of applications for impact. Examples would be data-backed programs or initiatives with proven results, so things that you've been doing consistently year over year. They provide comprehensive and coordinated services, and they are high-quality, data-centered, and effective services that can be grown and accelerated. The Impact Fund also does not have a cap on how much you can request for funding. So obviously, keep in mind, we have limited resources that we're able to invest every year, but there is not a cap on what you can request. For the Catalyst Fund, the Catalyst Fund applications look to find innovative growth, emerging ideas, or creative solutions measured by the framework Steps to Success, which I will get into a little bit later as well. And the type of applications for an innovation application would be a new program or new aspects of an existing program. So it doesn't have to be something completely new, but maybe a new way of doing things. It also can be a way to test a potential solution to a root cause issue or a barrier to the effectiveness of your work. So think of this as almost taking a risk. We want people to not feel hesitant in going for something if they're not sure if it's going to work. And so this is a great way to test it or try new things. And then types of applications for capacity building. We want to invest in nonprofits to bring you to the next level of your operational, programmatic, financial, or organizational maturity so that you're more effective and efficient in your organization. This can be anything from tech advancements to an EDI training that you want to do for your staff or for your clients, whatever that might be. So be really imaginative with this. And if you have questions on if you're not sure if your idea or application with your organization could fit, definitely just set up a time with us. We'd love to talk it through. So an overview of our application process, these are the steps to apply. So applicants will complete eligibility. All of this will be through our new tech platform on SurveyMonkey Apply. This is also linked right in the middle of our community investments page, so you can't miss it when you go to it online. So you'll register and you'll complete eligibility. Eligibility will include things like, are you a 501c3 organization? We're asking that you've been chartered before January 1st, 2019. So that's a 3-year charter timeline, that you have staff and or volunteers serving in that 6-county footprint, things like that. So very basic, just to make sure we're all on the same page before we have you go through a whole application process. And then we ask you to select your funding streams, whether you do impact and or catalyst. You are, as an organization, you can apply to both, but then you have to select between innovation or capacity building. And I think I failed to mention with Catalyst Fund, those are capped at $25,000. And that's just to make sure that there is enough of an investment, but there's not so much that if you're in testing and you need to try new things, that it's still wisely invested. So a choice between innovation or capacity, but you can apply to both impact or catalyst if you so choose. And then the big deadline that's coming up is letter of intent submission. So we have a deadline of February 4th for the letter of intent. And the reason for this is not because we want things to be on a strict timeline, but more so because we want to make sure that you all have enough time to fill the complete application. And so the letter of intent will be due then, and our team will review and approve, which really, this just means we're making sure it's complete, a completion check. And then we move you into the application phase. And then those are due at the end of February, February 25th. Here's our overall timeline. You'll see I've highlighted the deadlines for the letter of intent and the full application. You see that we released our RFP and our applications open January 4th. We have office hours, which I'll cover in just a second, every Tuesday, Thursday, January and February. And then you'll see once we hit March, it starts to go all into the review phase. So our volunteer advocates, our community investment committee meetings start to pick up, and that's where the reading, reviewing, interacting, and funding recommendations are made. And by July 1st, award dispersals to grant recipients will begin. And then you can see the reporting and meeting expectations for the following months through the end of our fiscal year in 2023. So I'll highlight very quickly our office hours as well. This is a sprint of an overview for you all. And if you jump into our application guidelines on our website, our framework, all the information, and you have any questions, or if you register and you have any questions while you're going through the application platform, this is the best place to find us. Every Tuesday, Thursday from 11 to 12, we're hosting office hours. You can register through a link on our website as well. And this is just where we're going to field a lot of questions you guys have, anything from a technical question to something specific with your application. This has been a really good time for people just to jump in and sit and listen, even if they don't have questions, so that they can hear, oh, that was something that I was wondering as well. And so that will be going on every Tuesday, Thursday from 11 to 12, like I said. And so some specifics I want to get into, just so that we all understand where United Way is trying to align and what we are trying to measure. In the past, we have measured the following, as you can see, for each cycle. The Global Results Framework was a set of indicators that we received from United Way Worldwide, which is kind of like our umbrella organization over all the United Ways nationally and internationally. And although the indicators are useful in some ways, they're also restrictive and inflexible in others. And you can see as well, we didn't have consistent year-over-year measurements. And so we knew we needed to change something on this end. And so we worked with our team and with our partners and feedback that we had received towards a new framework called Steps to Success. So for this next cycle, we needed to figure out how to be holistic in the 3 focus areas of education, stability, and health and well-being. And so we did a lot of research and found a great United Way in Richmond, Virginia that has a Steps to Success model. And we were really inspired by the impactful data work that they were doing at the time. So the Steps to Success model illustrates 9 key milestones on the path to success. There's no one solution to solve the many challenges that every individual and household in our community faces. And so this framework is going to highlight the greatest ways that organizations can comprehensively provide the best next step for a person's whole life. So think cradle to grave, from birth to childhood, adulthood, and beyond. And here are our 9 steps to success. You'll see we have basic needs, moves to born healthy, kindergarten readiness, 3rd grade reading, middle school engagement, high school graduation, college or career readiness, financial well-being, and connected and healthy older adults. Some of these might sound to you like they're very education heavy or they're very stability heavy, and they may be, but within each of these steps, the indicators that we are hoping to measure are going to be holistic in nature as well. And so we know if a kindergartner is not going to their wellness checkups, if they don't have a safe home to live in, that they might not be ready for kindergarten, and that's going to affect their 3rd grade reading and their middle school engagement, all the way up to their financial well-being and their life as a healthy and older adult. And so we see all of these as super interconnected and intersectional in their very nature. Okay, so this next slide, it's going to look a little complicated, but really what we're trying to show is that this framework is just a foundation for how we want to measure the impact that's happening in our region. And so within these very basic foundational indicators, they're going to feed up into regional indicators. And so we're going to be tracking things like percentage of high schoolers who graduate on time, but that's all going to feed into what's the dropout rate, what's our high school enrollment, and that's going to feed across all 9 of these indicators. And so this is just to show you all, we've got this aspirational goal of making sure that we're not just measuring the impact of what our applications and our organizations that get funded are doing, but rather how's this changing the landscape and the scope of what's happening in Greater Chattanooga. So I'm going to provide just 1 or 2 detailed examples of one of these steps. It's going to be a lot of information as well, so I'll walk through it pretty broadly. But just know with these steps of success, it is not comprehensive whatsoever. So if you have an organization that serves youth age children, elementary, whatever it might be, or if you serve older populations or persons with disabilities, and you don't feel like you or your organization fits perfectly in it, this is not meant to be comprehensive. When it's time to select indicators, we are asking applicants to select at least 1 of the ones that we list, but you can add up to 5 of your own as well. So hoping to see that there's flexibility on an applicant's end, but also as United Way, we want to learn where we have gaps in what these indicators are so that we can build upon them in future years. So for example, here's our kindergarten ready one. You'll see our priority statement or goal at the top. In order to be kindergarten ready, young children need quality early education, strong relationships with families, and a safe and secure home environment, and regular health and developmental screenings and support. And so on the left, we have our expected result. So what would come out of this, as well as examples of programs that could align in this area. So anything from programs that help students be ready for kindergarten, to those who provide affordable, high quality childcare for working families, to those who help childcare workers have a thriving wage. And then our community outcomes would be an increased number of percentage of children with disabilities or potential disabilities will be identified early and referred to appropriate services. More children who are progressing at developmentally appropriate levels will enter public school or an inclusion setting which best fits their needs. and more parents and caregivers will receive early childhood resources that will help prepare their children to succeed in school. And then the big list on the right are our aligned indicators. So this is what we're asking organizations to select, that they're measuring, that their application would accomplish, whether it's just a project or initiative or program. And then there's room for them to add 5 more that they think fit within this step as well, that they may already be measuring. Another quick example is our college or career readiness. Again, we have our priority statement, the types of programs that could align in this strategy areas, so those that help build new savings for adults and children. Those where students receive individualized support for post-secondary planning, anything like that. And then our aligned indicators on the right. So there's lots of details in this, but all of this information is on our website. So you'll see kind of next steps, TLDR. Number 3, just read through our application guidelines and all the steps to success framework. This is on our website. I'll go ahead and place that in the chat as well. A second. That's going to have everything you'll need to know. The link that was shared earlier as well, that's our application guidelines. So all the technical pieces of things. And then this is the link to where to go to register for SurveyMonkey, and then a link as well for FAQs for how to apply. And then, like I said, our last call to action, big need. If you're sitting here listening and going, I'm not an organization, I'm not a 501c3, I'm not going to be able to apply, this doesn't really apply to me. It could apply to you because we need volunteers that represent the community to read and review these applications. And so we're looking for individuals who are really passionate about community change and social change, but also individuals that have an expertise in one of these steps to success. So if you're super passionate about helping older adults, if you're super passionate about filling basic needs with housing or food and stability, anything like that, and that is a place of both personal and or professional expertise, then we need you, and you can apply online as well. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna get those pieces of information to you all as well for where volunteers can go, and then I'll stop talking and answer any questions you all may have.
Thanks, Kate. And if you don't mind, drop in your email address in the chat as well, in case we've got any questions that come up after we finish today. So, and feel free to unmute yourself if you've got questions, or drop questions in the chat for Kate and ArtsBuild. No questions? Okay. I have a feeling those will come after the fact. So
no problem.
Yeah. Kate, get that email ready. So,
so
I see she's dropped it in the chat. So go ahead and grab that information. So thank you both for being here today, both Nadine and Kate. So again, the brief of all the information that we've provided you today is available in our weekly ArtsWire online publication. So we've got just a couple of minutes. So wanted to go over just a few things that popped up in ArtsWire this week and draw your attention to those. So the Tennessee Arts Commission has put out its call for the Individual Artist Fellowship. This fellowship provides $5,000 awards to outstanding professional artists who, through their work, add to the cultural vitality of the state. Eligible applicants must be professional practicing artists of exceptional talent working in their chosen discipline, who are financially compensated for their work and have resided in Tennessee for the past 3 consecutive years. For more info, you can visit the Tennessee Arts Commission website, which I will drop in the chat here, with as well as the some other details that go along with it. So sorry, multitasking is not coming easily today. Um, yeah, so here's this in the chat. Again, we've got more announcements in our ArtsWire publication. So if you need that information, if you did not receive an ArtsWire, check your spam folder. You can also reach out to us here at ArtsBuild to get connected to that. My email address that I'll put in the chat is here. If you want to reach out to Miriam when she's back in the office, entering her email as well. And just as a reminder, here's James's email. But for the sake of time and efficiency, we are right at 11:30. So we'll give you back the rest of your Friday. And feel free to reach out to Nadine and Kate. That's exactly why we have these opportunities for you here at ArtsBuild. So thank you again, ladies, and thank you all for participating today and joining us. And we look forward to working with you all in the future. Have a great Friday.